Hey guys, Shikari Ferrari here, hope you're doing well. I thought I'd do a little video on my impressions of the beta, or beta, however you want to say it, of The Division. I'll break it down into good, some things I didn't like, and just little nitpicky stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. So the things I like about The Division, the combat's brilliant, the cover system and the shooting are really good, really solid. There's smart AI, so you don't get just mindless AI charging towards you, except for the ones with the melee weapons, of course, but then that's how they're supposed to be. So yeah, they try and flank you, they try and get you off balance, basically, so that's really good. The game does look lovely, as you're seeing from the gameplay footage. Ubisoft has definitely put attention to detail on their priority list. The snow, the cars, the way the whole world looks, New York in general. Sound design is really good. The guns feel heavy and punchy and almost feel like they have a weight to them with the recoil and stuff like that, so that's really cool. The destruction is really well done. Glass and metal and some of the explosion effects as well, and what they do to the environment around them. It's really nice to look at. The dark zone is probably the most fun I had with the game. Going into that area, the PvP area. It's really good fun, especially when you're in a squad with your friends, because what they can do is they can go rogue by shooting another player and taking their loot. Any loot, because any loot that's taken from the dark zone is infected. So basically they have to extract it by chopper. So there's certain locations you go to shoot a flare to get the attention of a chopper to come pick up your stuff, basically. And there's only a certain amount of items they can take each. And if people want to be evil, they can basically shoot you. They can see you got stuff on your back, on your character, and they can basically shoot you, take your stuff, and then extract it for themselves. But the same with your team members. They can, if they want to be evil, they can just basically kill you, take your stuff, and have it for themselves. So there's an element of tension, and that makes it really good fun, especially when you're playing with random people. Now, before I get into the stuff I didn't like, again, this is all my own opinion. I'm not saying this is the right thing and that's it, basically. This is my experience with it, so the stuff that I consider to be bad. So, start off with, I know that the story is all near enough this virus and everyone's scattered about and there's hardly anyone in New York, but the world just felt just so dead. I mean, apart from travelling to the key locations, anything in between, you were just running from place to place, encountering the enemies here and there, but I don't know, I felt it was lacking somewhere in just like in certain interactions with people or locations. Yeah, I don't know, it just felt like get from here point A to point B, and that's when stuff's going to happen. There wasn't enough variety of stuff along the way, like random events or certain things like that, like exciting things. The story missions I thought were boring. They were very linear, very handholdy, like extract this person and go turn the power on and fight a big boss at the end of it. It just felt just so one and done, basically. There was not enough. I thought there'd be branching paths to kind of approach it differently and stuff like that. No replay value whatsoever in the full game. Yeah, I found them really dull, to be honest. And to only have 2 story missions to play in this beta, I think that's just a bad move as well. You want to get people excited for this game and you choose the 2 most boring story missions to do. Just so just no set pieces, no stakes, just found them so boring. But moving on from that, the other thing that kind of I just find bad is there's only 3 classes. I mean, this game's been delayed like twice, and you'd think they'd add more kind of what players can be, basically. Like, I was expecting at least like 4 or 5 at least. I mean, 3, that's very... Fortunately, that reminds me of another game, which is Destiny, only having 3 classes, and I know people got upset about that. So, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's a bit annoyed about that. But yeah, I just don't think that's good enough, really, for this this overhyped game, unfortunately. The Dark Zone, the gripe I have with that is unfortunately from the beta it seems that it's the only place to get the best loot. The open world doesn't seem to have as good loot as you can get in there. And I just found the Dark Zone to be really small. And there's only certain enemies in certain locations and they weren't scattered about like I thought it would be. And people just sit outside a location waiting for them to respawn, and it's just basically just grinding. So that kind of takes you out of it a little bit. And unfortunately, if this is the only place to get good loot, it kind of forces players to go up against each other, because again, people can just be evil and nick all your stuff. So it's kind of the only way to progress, or like, oh, I really want a better weapon, is that you have to go into the Dark Zone. So whether that's true or not, but I don't know, I kind of thought that from playing it, and yeah, it was far too small for me and just not that lively really. Nitpicky stuff, character customization I was disappointed at. There was hardly no customization in that beta, so that was really disappointing. And unfortunately, they say that this is only the beta, but I really do think this is the final product. Because when I played the Destiny beta, that was exactly the same thing at launch. I know it's a different company, but it seems so close to launch now that there's not going to be any big changes when it comes out. So yeah, I genuinely think this is the final product that we're going to be given. So that's basically what I'm not fond about the beta. My hype for this game definitely went down before this beta came out. I watched Total Biscuit's impressions, and he basically said that it's what you expect from an MMORPG, and that kind of brought me back a little bit to go, okay, maybe it's not going to be as good as I think it's going to be. So yeah, that kind of set the tone of how it's going to go into playing this beta. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's just meh, really. It's just, yeah. What I would say is, I'd give it a miss at launch, because no doubt they're going to say, oh, we're going to be adding more features as the game goes on. It's like, well, again, I just don't find that good enough nowadays for any game. You should put everything up front, what you're selling, what it's got, and then the DLC and everything else is basically just to whet your appetite more. Like, don't promise people, oh, there's more to come, because yeah, that's just not good enough. It really isn't good enough. It's what Destiny's done, and unfortunately I think it's what the Division's going to do. So I'll leave on a positive note. I'd say get the game when it's cheap, and if your mate's going to get it as well, because I don't think you would have a good time if you were just playing it by yourself. And yeah, just again, this is all my personal opinion. If you love the game, good for you. For me, it just didn't. Yeah, it was very mediocre, above average. Just didn't. I'm not gonna get it on launch, I don't think, anymore. I don't think it was good enough, really. But again, my opinion. So that's it for this video. If you're still watching, thank you very much. You're awesome. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.